Hello, everybody. Welcome to a little meeting here to talk about how to use the SharePoint Project Management Dashboard to manage projects. And Evian, I think I'm going to go ahead and mute your system. I can hear your keyboards. So just note that you're muted if you talk again. Great. So here's basically the project management system that we use here at the city is housed in SharePoint Online. And we have, the basic idea is that we create or instantiate a SharePoint site for every project. There's a lot of tools in every SharePoint site, but we don't necessarily need all of them for every project. Small projects, we may just need some place where we can store documents for collaboration and maybe have a notebook where we can keep track of the open things that we're working on. On top of all of that, there's a dashboard where we can then list all of the projects that we have that are in the system, their status, if they're open, if they're closed, or if they're benched or on hold. And then this is useful, for example, for our team to see what's going on within the for projects for the entire city. It's also especially helpful for our manager, our IT manager, and other executives to come and see what IT has on their workload. So I'm going to show you that dashboard in just a second, but what you're seeing on the screen right now is one such site. This is actually, well, let's not show this one. Let's go show this one. This is a project called the Digital Health Department. It's a project for the fire prevention component of the fire department. And we are deploying a system that's going to help automate their ability to perform inspections. We'll have mobile devices, tablets, and mobile printers that they can take out on the field, take photos for inspections, do all their write-up, issue notices of violation, and print receipts. So this is a pretty comprehensive program, very similar to Energov in some ways. But this is the project at a glance. So what you're seeing right here is all of the major phases and the various deliverables, the milestones. And you can see right here is where we're at right now. Here's the today. And then we have all kinds of milestones, delivery milestones, fanned out like a Japanese fan along the bottom here. And then up here we have our go live milestones, delivery and go live milestones up there. This gives, so basically the fire chief or the fire marshal or the IT manager can come to this page, and at a glance, they can see what we're up to without needing to do a deep dive into this system. Now, for the project manager, we use a page like this, which is simply a OneNote notebook that's associated with the site. And let me bring up my little red bouncing ball. Hopefully you can see my little red dot. Here on the actual SharePoint site, over on the left, are a whole bunch of tools. They're just hyperlinks that go into the site for various things. There's a document library. We have a link for project videos, milestones. There's a backlog where we keep track of work that has come up along the way that we need to do, but we don't want to add it to this project for danger of scope creep. Reports, we have a testing page. We have a log. We have a list of our team, all kinds of things. But probably the most important thing for me as a project manager is this item right here, the notebook. And this is where we basically keep track of what I call the project story. And we're about 21 minutes left. So I'm going to transition really quick. I'm starting to trespass into content for subsequent meetings like this. But I just want to really quickly show you that the story is a OneNote notebook. And the notebook is where we collect all of the information about activities, milestones, action items, log entries, information about the team. We keep attendance here. It's all in one spot. It looks a little complicated at first, but there's one basic rule of thumb. Every day I come into this document and I'm looking for things that are yellow and I'm striving to make them turn gray. That's all my job is. And when everything on this sheet that was yellow becomes gray, my job is done and I can wrap this project up. It's finished. It's a really nice way to make sure that nothing's missed and to keep track of what's happening. And with a little practice, your teams get very familiar with it and they can read this. Like, for example, this is the fire prevention team. Joe Morelli and Heidi and Alex And Merritt, they can read this like they can read the morning newspaper. And in fact, I could call in sick one day. Merritt could step in as the project manager and run my project for me because she knows how to read this page. Really quickly scrolling down, and again, I won't go into too much detail because it's for next time. But do you see all these things that are showing up here? This is all work that we did or important documents that we had to review. They're all gray. That means that they're done. Scrolling down a little further, hey, there's our first yellow item, right? Okay, so we've got a piece of work there, and it's got a checkbox next to it, and it's not checked. That's because I haven't touched that one this week. Well, I did, but it's not in earnest. And I'm having a meeting with the fire team today, and this is our agenda for the meeting. There's a couple of other yellow items down here. So when I meet with the fire team today at 1 o'clock, I will bring this page up. As the team arrives into the virtual meeting room, I'll check off their names as they arrive so we know they're here. And then I'll scroll down and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, first let's talk about the action item to add aggressive integration to the project. It looks like our last status was that we need to review the updated timeline with the team. That's an action item, that's a note for me. I'll just leave it at that. Then we just simply go through the meeting until we've gone through all the yellow items and put a check mark next to them. And then when we've done that, that meeting is done for the day. And believe it or not, we often close our meetings early. We will finish 10 minutes, 20 minutes, even half an hour early for an hour-long meeting because we know exactly what we need to touch. Anything new that comes up during the meeting, we add it to this log up here. But I'll talk about that more later. But for today, I want to show you a question. Of course, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. So your normal cycle then is that when you're going to use this, you come in and you grab a copy of your prior one or your template, whichever one you want to use. If it's an ongoing thing, you grab a copy of the prior day, and then you save that, and then you start working and updating it. Is that correct?
Bingo, exactly. For example, if you look over here on the past, yesterday I had a meeting with the DHD project manager, just he and I. That was August 19th. That was the PM brief. For today's meeting, I just took that, made a copy of it for today, and that's the team meeting today. And I have a historical record of every meeting that's ever happened and all the action items that happened. It was like a snapshot of the project at that day and time. Okay,
so every entry in this section of the notebook, the basic layout or the basic template is like it's a meeting, and the cycle is copy the thing, save the thing, update the thing.
Yeah.
Refer to it as you need, and then when you exit, there does not appear to be someplace where you save it. You just exit.
That's a real good.
It's being continuously saved as you do your thing.
It's constantly saving. There's a little dialog box. In fact, if you look up here in the upper right, if I add like a couple of text items here, it actually will pop up, and there it is right there. See, it's that little wheel. It's saving right now. It's syncing right now.
No. There it is.
Okay. There it is, yeah. And it just synced. And then if I take them away, so you don't have to click a save. It's automatic.
Right.
Very handy. And yeah. All right. Well, we have 17 minutes left. I want to show you, and that was a great question, Michael. Thank you. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you today. This is where, if you're not even going to use the SharePoint tool, you can just use this to list your projects and record your status. And it's just a SharePoint page. And at the top here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects, and they're color coded. Yellow, of course, means that we've got our eye on that one. Fortunately, it's not red. And then green means looks like they're on track. And you can see where things are starting and where things are ending. That's really helpful for Louis because he can see where projects are going to end and maybe then decide he wants to bring a new project and plug it in, apply the resource at the end of that project. Especially if it's green and it's coming to the end, it looks like it's going to actually close on time. A little further down, you can see a list. This is very similar to the system that we use now, where we have a list of the projects. So the first one here, let's just bring up my little red dot. The first one here under projects, this is a reporting project, is the EnerGov optimization phase 1. This is an enterprise level project. It began on February 1st of 2019. Phase 1 is scheduled to end in 2 weeks on September 7th, the day that will live in infamy for you history buffs. Product owner, no product owner at this time. No product manager, but there is a project manager. Later, we'll talk about the distinction between those three roles. And that project manager is yours truly. I'm currently allocated at 60% of my time. I try not to get above 65% allocation for projects because when I get above 65%, things start going into the weeds. So I know that with this one's taking about 60% of my time. There's a site link. If I click on that link, that takes me to the site for this project. The last update, I update all of my projects on this dashboard every Monday morning. So on the 17th, I put a note here that says the project is green and that we're completing final testing and training. That means Louis can come in and he can see all of my projects, see with the last time I updated status and what my status is. And if I haven't updated status for a while, if I've got an old date, he can get me on the horn and say, hey, Kurt, how come you're not updating your status in the dashboard? Does anybody have any questions about what is on the screen right now? Yes, Michael.
So is this dashboard updated separately from our project stuff, or does the information we put in our projects feed into the dashboard? That's
a question that I get a lot, and I wish I could tell you that it feeds in. Unfortunately, this is a home-built system, and so it's manual. So I just do this. It doesn't take long. It takes me about 5 minutes every morning, every Monday to update this.
Okay, so basically, what we're being asked to do then is we will, for the stuff that we have to do, go on Monday or prior to the meeting that Evian has, where we're looking at the overall global status. We will have to have a task to update this prior to that meeting.
Well, I have a question on that, Kurt. Have you discussed next steps in terms of when we're all going to move over completely from work zone to this? Because I know that's the plan. So I would like for us to have like a date or something so that we can actually think of like new projects. Like, should I even bother putting them in work zone, or should we just start adding them in here?
Louis has not given me a date or give me an indication about a date when that happens, but it's ready to do now. It's very simple, and I'm happy to help people. If you just simply send me an email with your status, I will update the dashboard for you, and I'll add the lines for you. It's already got it's already got a lot of stuff in there. Right now, it's filtered. There's a filter over here for Project Manager, and I've got it set right now just to show me the projects for Kurt. If I take that filter off, it shows me all the projects that have been added so far. So there's a lot of stuff in here already.
Okay, because I think like the IT strategic plan and some of the other bigger things that we're going to kick off, it doesn't make sense from my perspective for us to add it in work zone and track it in work zone if we're actually moving away. So I'll just talk to Louis about that, because it makes more sense in that case. I don't want to duplicate the work, you know?
A very simple way to make the transition is to simply leave the items that are in work zone there until they're complete and just add new items here. And then during the meeting that we have, we'll just cover like we continue to do now, and the work will gradually shift over organically from one to the other.
Yep, exactly. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. So thanks for asking that question, Evian, because that gives me a chance to dovetail to the next piece. We have 11 minutes left. I've already added a lot of things in here. Louis sent me a long list of projects and with information, and I added them all in. And without any filters applied, you're seeing them all right now. So let's change, for example, go to the project manager and switch to Dave. And there he is right there. If I click on Dave, it then filters for Dave. And here's all the stuff that's in there for Dave. Now, Dave, it's kind of here and there because it hasn't been updated for a while. All Dave would need to do is simply go to the link, see his items, and adjust them accordingly. And he can do that. Any of us can do that by you can edit the items by going to this little edit button here over on the far left. So let's take this asset works fleet. If you simply click on that, this opens the SharePoint item, and it has all the corresponding fields. And Dave can just simply update anything as he likes. The important piece is down at the bottom. The important piece is right here. The last, let me get my little red bouncing ball. Last update, there's 3 fields you want to think about. Last update, health, and status summary. That's all you need to update every week. I just go in every Monday and I put in that date of that day. You simply, all you need to do is simply click on the little date thingy here to pick the date. The health is either yellow, red, green, not applicable, or to be determined. And then health, the status summary. Status summary should be no more than a single sentence, maybe less than 8 to 10 words, just to kind of give a heads up of where you are. And then click on save. That's all you need to do. When the project is done, you can close the project, and the project will be properly sorted as a closed project and marked as such. As it comes back up again, there you go. You have any questions about that? Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is the categories. There are several categories, 3 of which you see on the screen right now. Let me bring up my little red dot. The first is projects, very simple. If an item is a project, that means that it's basically involves more than 80 hours of work, and it probably has a specific deliverable. And it involves a certain amount of time. It's not going to be around forever. If you meet those criteria, it's a project. And then when we create them, they'll filter us accordingly. Something else that you can also track here are initiatives. Initiatives, to be simple, are not projects. Anything else that Louis wants us to track that really don't meet those 3 criteria we talked about before, you can add them in here as well. And then the last item is things that are in the backlog. The backlog are things that come up along the way that we know that we want to do, but we're not ready to pull the trigger on yet. We add them to the backlog, and then Louis can decide later when he wants to pull those out and add them into the workload as proper projects or initiatives. So projects, initiatives, and backlog. And you can see that right now, since we're sorting for Dave has 1, 2, 3, 4 projects, 1 of which is complete, 2 initiatives, 1 of which is complete, and 2 backlog items that have been tagged with his name. Any questions?
Yes. Describe what a product is again.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I would have forgotten to say that. A product is as distinct from a project. A product is something that is going to be with us for maybe a decade or more, right? Imagine Office 365, right? If we treat Office 365, or let's take Energov. That's my baby. If we treat Energov as a project, that means that we have a start date for the project and an end date for the project. And when we're done with the project, we close the books on it, we wash our hands of it, and we move on. We disband the team, right? But that's not the way we want to handle something like Energov. Energov is going to be around for a very long time. Instead, if we look at Energov as a product, then we are thinking about it for its entire duration of service for the city, which could be a decade or more. A product manager is someone who will own that product from the beginning to the end. He or she will be around long after it's deployed and the project to deploy it is finished. And the team that's involved with the product will also be around as a governing body to make sure that that product is maintained and is able to grow, and it just doesn't get put on a shelf and forgotten about. That's the distinction between the 2. Does that help?
Yes. So, for example, SharePoint would be a product.
Yes, absolutely.
And the care and feeding of SharePoint and management of its storage and the handling of its security and stuff like that. Those are aspects of the product. If you're going to do a SharePoint upgrade, that would be a project, and it would have an impact on the product.
Exactly. You got it. That's exactly what it is, right?
Right. Okay.
So typically, when we create something like SharePoint, we want to decide who's going to be the project manager for the discrete amount of time it takes it to get it up and running, and who's going to be the product owner that's going to own this thing for a long time. And typically, the product owner is more on the business side. It's someone who's got their ear to the ground with what's coming up with. Oh, thank you, Vivian. I see your note. You have to leave.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kurt. Bye.
You're welcome. Take care. someone who knows what's coming up in the future and understands the business side of it as well.
Okay.
Well, gentlemen, since we've lost the one lady with the group, that's pretty much it. I want to just let me just recap real quick. This SharePoint project management methodology called Q2PM consists of SharePoint sites, thanks to our sysadmin, Alex Kim, who set up for us. When you want a SharePoint site, you can contact me. I will create a SharePoint site for you and make you the owner of the site. And then we'll create a location for your site in the dashboard. For example, our newest project manager who started this week or returned this week, is our own Michael Sharp. And yesterday I did create there he goes. I created a site for a SharePoint site for Michael for his project. If we filter now for Michael, you can see that his Inquest to Upgrade project is on the dashboard. His last status was 2 days ago, 8/18. It's green, and his status is initiating. He has no product owner assigned. There's no product owner assigned and no product manager assigned, but there is the project manager. And that's basically all there is to it. Your task is that if you choose to accept it is to every Monday I do it first thing I do every morning before I even check my emails. I go in and I update all my projects so that if anybody takes a look, they won't catch me falling behind.
So if I want to go in and do my update right now, and I could, let's see, I forget where my project. There's where my project went. So
Here, let me hold on. May I give you the screen, Michael?
Yeah.
Great. Nothing better than actually seeing you do it. I'm making you the presenter right now. We have 3 minutes left, so should be
okay. So let's see if we share. Okay, there's my screen. So now if I'm going to go, there are the projects, and so there are 21 projects. So I hit the twisty. That takes me to it. I'm going to scroll down until I find myself.
Michael, can I show you a shortcut to find yourself?
Yeah.
Go
show me where the filter.
The filter. Go look for the project manager column. Click on the little down arrow, and then select your name.
Okay. Bueno. Okay.
There you go.
Now, so this is. I want to go in and do my upgrade that you want to do. So here, this would be. I check the edit thing here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And now that's going to bring the thing up, and it's going to put me in edit mode, and so I can say my due date, blah 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 blah, status date, blah 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 blah. I'm going to update this to the 20th. Bada bing, and then I'm done.
Yeah, unless you want to change the verbiage in the below. You know, right now it says initiating, but nothing's really changed,
yep.
Right? You got it, Michael. Thank you for doing that. It's one thing to actually show a man to fish, but then to actually see him catch a fish.
Yes, but next we get to eat the fish. Right.
Just straighten the old proverb. Yeah, you've got it. That's exactly how you do it. Gold star.
Right. Thanks. Okay. Sure. We're going to be living in this, so I want to get comfortable with it.
So what I imagine happening, and this is where I'll close. I have 2 minutes left. What I imagine Louis wants us to do in the future is when we have our meetings where we go over our projects, as we said before, we'll continue going through Work Zone, but then we'll transition to this, and each of us in turn will share our screen and just click on the filter and filter for your name like Michael just did, and then just one by one go over your items, and that's all there is to it.
Right.
That should be our workflow.
Right, and so the expectation is on Monday morning we should have a regularly scheduled task to make sure that this is up to date, and then people are going to be coming to this throughout the week, and there'll be one particular time when we're meeting and have to go over this also.
Absolutely, that's exactly right.
All right.
Well, we are just at the top of the hour. Does anyone have any other questions? No. Well, Michael, Matt, Alex, and Ivian. In proxy, we're out there. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the video. I'll upload this to our Project SharePoint site, YouTube channel. The video, I'll share it with all of you. Just know that this will be on YouTube, but the permissions are set up so it's an unlisted video. Nobody can see it unless they've got the link, and I'll share that around for the benefit of those that were not able to attend. But gentlemen, thank you very much for attending. I do appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you. And Alex, can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and